Hey guys, I realized I never came on here and gave an update about my vocal cord surgery after it was done. So hopefully you can hear by my voice that I'm no longer hoarse and surgery was a success. So I just want to give you I'm going to try to keep it short, a little bit of my experience going through the surgery. So I finally got the surgery set. It was for August 14th, which was a Wednesday, and my surgery was at 1 p.m. So I got to the hospital, got checked in, got hooked up to the IV and everything. And my surgeon came in and he basically said that he imagined that it would take him about 45 minutes to do the removal of the polyps and then about 45 minutes in recovery, and that I would be done and ready to go back to my room and finish waking up and getting out of the anesthesia and head home. So that's exactly what happened. I remember one of the, it's funny and I'm embarrassed by the conversation, but they had already given me some of the anesthesia drugs to relax me. So one of the guys who came in and was on the anesthesia team, he gave me some kind of a medicine that started relaxing me. And then he was like, "Oh, I hear you're a Spanish teacher, right?" And then I was like, "Yep." And then he said something in Spanish. I can't remember what it was. And he's something like his Spanish is not very good or whatever. And I said, "Oh, that sounded good," but he said it in Spanish. And he's like, "Yeah, I know how to," he's like, "There's not a whole lot I know how to ask for." And he's like, but these drugs make you feel like you've had some cervezas, and which is beers in Spanish. And I was like, "Okay, great." And then he talked about not knowing anything but the bad words, and I was like, "Oh yeah, but I never even learned all the bad words in Spanish because I'm a good girl," and that's all I remember. And I ended up in the OR, and I remember getting from the bed that they rolled me in on to the operating table, and then I remember the guy putting the mask on my face and asking me to breathe, and then I was out, and then I woke up in recovery. And so I woke up in recovery and they asked me how my pain was. It was about a 5. It was actually probably worse than that. But it wasn't too bad. I just felt like my neck and my jaw felt sore. And so they gave me some fentanyl, and then they asked me in like 10 minutes how I was feeling, and they gave me some more pain meds, and then they pretty much, at that point, I was breathing well, I didn't have oxygen on anymore. They rolled me back into my room, and honestly, by the time they rolled me out of my room and rolled me back into my room, so I had gone into surgery, come out, gone into recovery, and then got back to my room, it was only an hour and 10 minutes. And they said my surgeon actually had to leave, so the staff at the hospital gave me the update. They said he couldn't have asked for it to go more perfectly, and they had pictures of my throat, which I'm going to include in this post, and it looks great. And so at that point, I have 5 days of vocal rest. Well, he said 3 to 5, but he said it's super important that this heals right because of the way that he was taking out the polyps and making this like flap in order for it to heal right. He's like, he's like 3 to 5 days, 3 for sure, but 5 would be better. And then I felt nauseous after surgery, and I was like, maybe it's the pain meds, maybe it's the fact that I hadn't eaten in like 18 hours and had any water or anything. I mean, I know they hydrate you, but at that point they gave me like a second nausea or anti-nausea med, and I still didn't feel better. And I was like, I just want to go home. So we had brought some like soft foods along and easy to eat things. So once we got into the car, I had an applesauce, still felt nauseous, but then there was a Chick-fil-A nearby, and it's like the closest one is an hour and 15 minutes from my house. And I was like, "You know what, Mom, drive me." Well, and I wrote this down for her. I obviously didn't say it, but I was like, "I want a cookies and cream shake from Chick-fil-A." And lo and behold, I ended up getting some food in me, and I felt so much better. And so I was doing really well that day, and I came home, laid down, went to bed, woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I was in so much pain. And it wasn't even my throat, it was my entire body. I felt like I had been hit by a truck or that I'd had the hardest workout of my life. But like all the muscles in my neck hurt. I could barely lift my head off the pillow. My arms, my legs, like my abs, the muscles around my ribs, like it was my back, it was awful. And I took Aleve and Tylenol and didn't help. And so in the meantime, while I was like laying there hoping the meds would kick in and like couldn't fall back asleep because I was in so much pain, I was Googling on the internet. That's always a good choice when you're trying to diagnose something yourself. But I did find though that there is a a paralytic medication that they use as part of anesthesia when they put the tube in your throat, that can often cause a side effect of body aches and muscle soreness. And I didn't realize how bad it could be though. And I felt that way, like I could barely even lift my head off the pillow with Tylenol and Aleve in my system. And I felt that way for probably 24 hours. And by the next day, so that was Thursday, by like the end of the day, Friday, I was feeling well enough that I could like sit up on the couch instead of lay in bed. And then by Saturday, the pain was mostly gone. I did have a little bit of soreness in my throat, but not too bad. And then I was silent for pretty much 5 full days. I made a couple sounds accidentally here and there, but that was usually after the first 3 days were up, and so I was mostly on to. I knew it would be okay if I made some sounds, and then on Monday night, Monday at like 5 p.m., that's when I finally decided to talk. So I called my mom, and I basically was so scared because I didn't know what I was going to sound like. I didn't know if it had worked. I didn't know if I would sound different. But I sound pretty much the same, but I'd forgotten what I sounded like. And I talked to her on the phone for a while, but I found out that I was getting out of breath easily, and my vocal stamina isn't very great. Obviously, I have to retrain that. And then we ended up having, this was my first week back at school, so I had to do a whole day of in-service without talking. But then luckily Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I could talk so I could get things ready for the year. And on Wednesday night, we had 3 hours of students coming in and parents popping in, like meet the teacher, move-in night at our school. And at the end of that night, my throat was kind of sore. And then on Thursday night, we had parent meetings, and so I was kind of fried by the end of the week. But trying my best. They were able to set up a giant speaker, like I'm having a rock concert in my classroom, in my room, and I have a microphone ready to go so that I don't need to strain my voice anymore. And I'm hoping that helps a lot with the first week of school. I'm worried my voice is going to be shot by the end of the first day or two, and then what do I do on Wednesday and Thursday next week? I don't know. And then I have a follow-up appointment, so I won't be there Friday. But I think I'm in good shape, and I will try to keep you updated on this journey. But if I don't, hopefully no news means good news. So thanks for your support, and let me know if you have any questions or curiosities about my journey and what I've gone through.